Welcome to Chili Pulse. This is the space we created to get actionable insights on all things related to CHILI GraFx. Today I have the honor to welcome Ward again.
Hi, Bram.
Hi, Ward. A quick introduction. People might have seen you from the previous episode, but who is Ward? What is your role?
I'm a head of product at Chili Publish, and that means I have the privilege of working together with a very talented team of product owners and UX experts. And together we design the best product out there in creative automation.
Today's episode will be about web-to-print in a B2B context. But before we go there, a quick word of our sponsor. Hi there. On behalf of everybody at Chili Publish, I'd like to invite you to Create US, our flagship event in Austin, Texas, happening on the 28th and 29th of June. Create is a place for you to meet other members of the creative tech community. You will learn about the impact creative automation is having on the industry from leaders such as Forrester, creatives, decision makers, and technologists. You can take part in hands-on workshops to get certified on CHILI GraFx, our multi-channel creative automation platform, and a whole lot more. See you there. Thank you. Welcome back. So web-to-print in a B2B context. Maybe take one step back, and how would you define web-to-print?
Web-to-print is the remote ordering or designing of printed materials. We all know those websites where you can design a business card or order a business card or an invite for a party or something like that. That's probably the most known use case of web-to-print.
But these use cases sounds a bit B2C. I guess a lot of people know these B2C examples. How is it relevant in a B2B context?
Indeed, that example is indeed a B2C use case. In B2B, it's still very, very relevant. We are dealing with, for example, physical stores. A retailer has physical stores. That means that they require a lot of printed materials, things like shelf labels, in-store posters, displays, and so on. And typically, they will have a system in place, or they will want to have a system in place where that can be organized and is from a central way, from an online portal or in an automated way, and then ship that from that system in an automated way to the different stores, the different locations where that point of sales material is needed.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the challenge of the retailer, getting that physical material, point of sales material. Where would such a process start? Where does it originate?
Well, it must start with having the data in a structured format. If we don't have data, then we can't produce the different items, the different point of sales items we need. That data could be entered ad hoc in the system, if referring back to maybe the use case we just described, like in a B2C context where somebody makes a change to a design, we could allow a user, a store manager, to order a specific item. But that's not what you would want to do. You would probably want to automate it completely, link it to a data source, and then produce that completely in an automated manner overnight, and then from there on ship it to the different stores.
And when we're talking about stores and data, I can imagine that the data resides at the headquarters, not in the store itself, because indeed the data is sent from a central location.
Indeed, things like pricing, the different campaigns, different products. Typically will organize that in a central way. Indeed, headquarters decides what campaigns can run, and from there on it is then shipped to the different.
And maybe
stores.
one second back on the data. What are the elements in that data?
In such a data stream, you will have things like a product shot, you will have pricing in there, you will have the type of campaign, like if we have an offer of if you buy two, you get one for free, or for example, an offer where if you buy products from a certain product family, you get a discount on another product. That would definitely be in there. The product identification number, so we can generate a barcode, maybe URL to either an online review or to the website, so we can produce a QR code. So all that information is stored per record in that data stream.
Yeah. So and then that data is brought into CHILI GraFx and linked to smart templates. And another episode we talked about smart templates. So if you didn't have watched this, please go watch it. How the data is then linked to fields, but we can do just more than fill in fields. It's
indeed, the data comes into a smart template, and that smart template contains all of the business logic. So it knows if in the data stream it says it is a buy two, get one for free campaign, that it needs to show in a certain color, and it needs to maybe show 2 product shots. It will also recognize, for example, in the data stream, if you have an old price and a new price, it will show the old price with a strike through. All that logic is embedded into the template, so we can simply send that entire data set to a single template, and from that single template we can produce all the necessary point of sales material for all the stores, for all the shelves.
Yeah, and you talked about the order of data, because indeed in the logistics chain you want to have it in a certain order to be able to process it. It will be processed in the same order.
Yeah, you would typically organize your data set per store, per shelf, even per size, because, for example, you will have, for example, in the freezed product section on the freezers, you will have a different label size than you have on the shelves, on the physical shelves. So that can all be structured in that way, and the output is coming out in the same order as the data stream.
Yeah.
So it's easy to then ship that material to the right locations, and people there can pick it up and start distributing it across the store.
When we say produce, we don't produce. So what would be the outputs of where we come into the process?
What comes out of CHILI GraFx is either a single PDF file containing all these different items, or it could come out as a zip file containing all these different items. And then that output is, of course, going to the printer, which produces it. But because we know the order of the outputs, we can then again, after the production, start distributing it.
And the production itself, how is that triggered? I can imagine there's no one person waiting for the file to come in at 3 o'clock in the night to push a button.
Well, there are many options. Either it could be someone who is doing that, who is pressing a button, and hopefully not 1,000 times for each item. No, you're going to press one button saying, I need this data set to be produced. But of course, it could also be in an ad hoc way. I mean, if you allow your store managers to last minute order something, they could go in, they could enter the data, or the data could already be provided, and they can simply order that design. So we can cover both use cases. Either you completely automate it and you can schedule it, or you do like a hybrid system where it is scheduled but somebody needs to approve it and you can quickly run through it, or it is ad hoc at runtime when it's needed, so allowing someone to go in and simply order something.
And that's one of the advantages, since we have the API first approach, that our partner or the retailer or whoever does the integration can handle both scenarios.
Indeed. Because it's API first, we can indeed, via the API, send the data set to a template on service and ask it to produce the outputs completely automatically without human interaction.
Super. So we have the data stream organized by the retailer or headquarters of the retailer coming into a smart template. That smart template then makes the variants with the barcodes, but I think you have an example of that in a moment. Oh. And the output can be PDF, but we can also output to digital static, because we could also output to signage, digital signage in the stores.
Indeed. It's also possible. CHILI GraFx is channel agnostic, as a matter of speaking. So a template could be outputted to an image, to a PDF. With Graphic Studio, we can even output to MP4 now. So indeed, from a single template, we can cover all these different channels and use cases. And indeed, in-store digital advertising is becoming more and more common.
Okay, so now we get the process. Maybe we can dive in a small example of a shelf card you have prepared.
I have a shelf label here. And as you can see, it contains, of course, the product name. It contains pricing. It contains information on the discount, so the campaign that is running. And as you can see also, we have a barcode in there with the product identification number. We have a QR code in there that points to a website, to URL. And as you can see, we have a data source connected here. And if I run through this data source, you see that indeed each item is generated on the fly. It is showing the previous price with a strike through, the new price automatically, the barcode is updated, the QR code is updated, even the size is updated. And of course, this is a demo file, so we do that on purpose. We change the size and everything constantly, but you get the idea. In a single data set, we can produce, with a single data set, we can produce different sizes, different campaigns, different products, different pricing. All of that could come from a single template combined with a single data stream.
And I can imagine not everybody needs a barcode and QR code. That's also part of the smart templates.
Indeed. A QR code, for example, in this use case, a shelf label barcode will be quite common. Yeah. The QR code not, but it is definitely something that you might want to add on a shelf label, for example, because it gives you the opportunity to engage with the consumer. If they scan it, we can take them to the website or to a review. Having a system like this that supports these kind of use cases is definitely very valuable.
So the only limit would be the creative at the retailer that invents these crazy ideas, and we help them to make them happen.
Indeed.
All right. Well, thank you so much to spreading a bit of light on the web to print use case for B2B. I think, like you say, it's still relevant. Thank you for being here again.
No problem.
And thank you for the listeners and the viewers for being with us on Chili Pulse, and see you in the next episode. If you like this episode and you want to get engaged, or you have tips for improvements or changes, please let us know at pulse@chilipublish.com. Also, if you want to be informed of next episodes, please subscribe to the newsletter on the form below.